Hello out there, you're welcome to DaveTut Academy, where we're devoted to building excellence in students, especially when it comes to the STEM subjects. Our video today is going to be a focus on the past question from the JAMB UTME 2021 mathematics exam. And we're going to take our time to solve all the 40 questions. And the focus here is that JAMB is not just any exam that you can just dabble into because you know you have covered the syllabus, you know what they are asking. No, JAMB goes beyond that. There are tricks, there are tips that you need to actually use that can really help you to solve this question. So as a rule of thumb, in this particular video, we are going to make very minimal use of the calculator. We look at means to solve our questions directly so that we will know that there will be no distraction whenever we are solving the questions in the exam hall, okay? So we are going to be focusing on speed, accuracy, and working smart, okay? There are so many ways you could have solved the question, but what you are looking for is a smart way that will gain you speed when you are doing your exam and will ensure that you get your full mark without any distraction to go and be clicking on the calculator on the computer screen. That we don't want to dabble into. So just get set, get ready. We are going to walk through all of the questions, and that is going to help you to build that excellence, and God willing, you'll gain that admission that you are vying for. So perhaps you are here and you are just coming across the channel. This is a channel where we build excellence in students. We would like you to be a part of our journey. Go ahead and click on the subscription icon so that you'll have notification of all of our videos once we upload them, and then like the videos, and very, very importantly, leave feedback in the comment section. Just click on the comment section. Tell us what you like about what we are doing. Tell us areas that you believe we need to improve upon. Tell us perhaps we got something wrong or we're not doing it, or you have a better idea. Just leave the feedback. That is how we get to become better at what we do. And God willing, all of us will gain that excellence that we are vying for. So finally, don't forget to share these videos with as many people as you know have need of it. Your relatives, your friends, your colleagues, your neighbors, younger ones around your neighborhood, in your church, wherever. Just let's build this excellence in students. Devices around our environment are so much, and it looks as if very few people are really pushing out content that can be of help to people. So together we can make that difference and make one life better. So without much ado, let's go over to our video for today. Now here in this question, we have to solve for this particular equation, and one of the very first things that will help you is to put the like terms together. So you can have 2 over 2r minus 1. Then when this goes to the other side, it becomes minus 1 over r plus 2. And when we have minus 5 over 3, moving on here, we have it to be 5 over 3. So here, my aim is to have 2r minus 1 here, multiplying r plus 2. And I'm having that to be equal to 5 over 3. But then I will just cross multiply directly. But first, in this particular first term, since 2r minus 1 and r plus 2 is the LCM, that means 2r minus 1 is well taken care of. I only have 2 multiplied by r plus 2 here, and I want to open the bracket straight. It will just be 2r plus 4, okay? Then minus, here in this case also, r plus 2 is a factor here, so what will remain is 2r minus 1. But I'm having minus 1 times 2r minus 1. If I want to open that bracket straight, it will just be minus 2r. When this negative sign, when it multiplies this negative 1, it will become plus 1, okay? So these are guides that can actually really help us to fast track our work and gain speed. And you can see 2r minus 2r, those ones knock out. This LCM, I can actually move here, okay, to the other side so that I will have it as 2r minus 1 multiplied by r plus 2. So it's no longer on the denominator, meaning that here on the left hand side, I'm having 4 plus 1 is 5. Okay, that's 5 over 1 is equal to 5 over 3. Okay, then if I want to open up this bracket, 2r times r will be 2r squared. 2r times 2 will be 4r. Minus 1 times r will be minus r. Minus 1 times 2 will be minus 2. Subsequently, these two terms here, we're just going to express it directly that, okay, in the first case, we have it as 2r times 2, that will be 4r. Then minus 1 times r, that will be minus r. We just write 3r directly. So those are tips that will help you to be fast in your solution. So look at this. Now, if I'm to say I want to divide, this 5 can cut this 5, and this 3 can come to this other side, okay, such that what I have eventually is 2r squared plus 3r minus 2 is equal to 3, okay? So I've taken time to just logically look at this and know that my 3 is coming here. If 5 is coming down, that will just cut out, and I don't need to rewrite all of those. So I just need to bring everything to the left-hand side there to have 2r squared plus 3r minus 2. But when 3 comes to the other side, it will come minus 2 minus 3, and that will be minus 5 is equal to 0. So all of those are guides that can really help us in solving. Now, I have 2r squared plus 3r minus 5. The product of terms is 10r squared. That's a combo of 2r squared and minus 5. So it is minus 10r squared, okay? So I have the product to be minus 10r squared. And then the sum is expected to be 3r. We are looking for two terms that we can multiply together. This product will be minus 10r squared. The sum will be 3r. Of course, r will reflect on those two terms, okay? Here we can see if we have 5 and 2, 5r and 2r will give us 10r squared, but we are looking for minus 10r squared. 5r and 2r, if we add them, that would be 7r. But if we say we want to actually subtract, okay, like we have 5r minus 2r, okay, I think that's making sense. So 5r multiplied by minus 2r will be minus 10r squared. 5r plus minus 2r will be 3r. So those are the terms that will be good for us. And I can just erase this. To know that inherently what I'm having here should be 2r squared minus 2r plus 5r minus 5 is 0. And then in the first two terms, 2r is common to them. If 2r is out of 2r squared, that remains only r. Then the other one is minus 1. Here, 5 is common to both of them. So if 5 is out of 5r, that remains only r. If 5 is out of minus 5, that remains minus 1 is equal to 0. So here I have 2r plus 5 is 0, or r minus 1 is 0. Of course, if I go ahead to solve that here, you can see that 5 moving to the other side will be minus 5, so that r will be minus 5 over 2, or in this other case, r will be 1. And looking at the options, I can see that minus 5 over 2 and 1, that is option B, and that will be sufficient for the solution. Here in this question on permutation and combination, we are asked that in how many ways can 2 students be selected from a group of 5 students in a debating competition. This is a classical example of combination in which we have 5 combination 2 that we are looking at. But generally, to evaluate combinations, we have n combination. R is given as n factorial divided by n minus r factorial, where r factorial will be the multiplication of the particular number with its subsequent numbers reduced by 1. So in this particular case, if you want to evaluate 5 combination 2, that will be 5 factorial. But I know that if I'm subtracting 2 from 5, that will be 3. So I just need to write 5 times 4 times 3 and stop on 3 as a factorial. Then here 5 minus 2, which is 3 factorial. Then 2 factorial is just 2 times 1, and I've made my work easy. This 3 factorial will cut 5 minus 2, which is also 3 factorial. This 2 here, 1 can go here 2, and all that I'm left with is 5 multiplied by 2. So I have 10 ways in which 2 students can be selected from a group of 5 to actually partake in a debating competition. So option B is the correct option there. In this question on the application of differentiation, we are being asked that what is the rate of change of the volume V of a hemisphere to its radius when the radius is 2, okay? So the very first question we need to ask ourselves is that what do they mean when they are talking about hemisphere? When you hear the word hemisphere, then that is referring to half of a sphere. And particularly in this question, we are talking about the volume of that sphere. So that particular volume here, in this case, will be the volume of a sphere is 4 over 3 pi r cubed. But since we are talking about hemisphere, that will be half of that volume because hemisphere is half of a sphere. All right. So this particular question is asking us to find the rate of change of the volume with respect to the radius when the radius is equal to 2. This is what we are asked to find. And then there's a general formula to find the derivative of a function. If y is given as a x raised to power n, then the rate of change of y with respect to x, a is a constant, so we still have it. N will multiply that a, and then we reduce the power of n by 1. So this is the guide that should help us whenever we are trying to work on differentiation, and we'll do well to just note this, okay? That's why I'm highlighting that we should note that. And in this particular case, if we just want to solve the question, we can say, for this particular question, dv dr will be, now, what's our constant here? Look at this, 2 can go here 1, 2 can go here 2. So we have 2 over 3 pi as part of the constant, okay? This 3 that is the power, we need to come down just like we did for a. So we have it multiplied by 3, then we have r, the power of r will now be reduced by 1. And again, you can see that this 3 can cut here. So what we are having is 2 pi r square, okay? But what we originally asked is to find dv dr when r is 2. When r is 2 means that whenever we see r, we just bring in the value of 2. So we have this as 2 raised to power 2. 2 raised to power 2 is 4. 4 times 2, that is 8. So we have 8 pi units as a solution to this question. And that is option A that we have here. All right. There is another question that we have here in which we are giving the function y is 3x squared plus 5x minus 3. And we are asked to find the maximum value, which is a question on the application of differentiation. So if you want to find this, we need to understand what we need to do, because for getting the maximum value of a function, then we need to first get the first derivative, which is the y dx, but much more importantly, the second derivative, the square y dx square, should always be less than 0 for maximum value. Okay, so we need to know this. This should always be less than 0 for maximum value. Okay, so this is one crucial information, student, that you need to keep on your fingertips. So looking at this particular question, given y is 3x squared plus 5x, just like we defined for differentiation in our previous question, the y dx in this case will be 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by x, then 2 minus 1, then plus 5. The derivative of just x being there will be x is raised to power 1 initially, so we have 1 minus 1. Derivative of a constant is 0, so this is going to just give us 3 times 2 is 6, 2 minus 1 is 1, so we have 6s. 1 minus 1 is 0, and then the number raised to power 0 is 1, so we only have 5 here, okay? But if you want to proceed further, the second derivative, the square y dx square, in this particular case, will give us 6, because just like 5x, 6x is just having a coefficient in front of our x, and that will give us a constant. And now, if you look critically, you will see that this is not even satisfying the condition for maximum value, because 6 is greater than 0. It is not less than 0. So this is telling us that this particular function is not going to have a maximum value. For this 6 that we have, that means it's only going to have a minimum value. So students, if you actually have a good grasp of the understanding of the core concepts of what you are working with, it will make your work easier, and you know that this particular answer will be none of the above. But if you just want to check, you can just go ahead to say, okay, at maximum value, the y dx is ideally going to be 0, meaning that 6x plus 5 will be 0. And from here, you can see that x will be 5 will move to the right hand side, it will become minus 5, then you can divide by 6. So for x to be minus 5 over 6, that's the value that you use in the original equation to know the value of y, which is going to be the maximum value. So if you want to plug that in here, what you are going to have is that in the original equation here, whatever you see x, you are going to put minus 5 over 6. So we have y will be 3 multiplied by minus 5 over 6 raised to power 2 plus 5 multiplied by minus 5 over 6 minus 3. Okay, so this will be 3 minus 5 over 6 raised to power 2 will be 25 over 36. Okay, then here we have minus 25 over 6. Here we have minus 3 over 1. Now look at this. Even before you try to solve, okay, we can have 3 here 1, 3 here 12. We have 25 over 12, and you can just do a rough. Quickly, you can also put all of this as divided by 12 so that your work will be fast. You're having 25, okay, we have over 12, minus, now 6 in 12 is 2, 2 times 25 is 50, then minus 1 in 12 is 12, 12 times 3 is 36. See, you have 25, you have minus, so this is going to give you something that is actually a negative number, okay? Maybe like 25 minus 50 is minus 25, minus 25 and 36 will be minus 61. So what you have here is minus 31 over 12, okay? Or something like that. It's even a negative number, and that is not included in the options that you have here. But if you actually understand that, wait, if I'm working with maximum value or minimum value, for maximum value, second derivative should be less than 0. Then for minimum value, second derivative should be greater than 0. Then just testing, you are already seeing that this question, I don't need to waste my time. The answer is that none of the above. So those will really help you to master and gain time. You work smart and you gain your excellence. In this question on mensuration, we're told that a trapezium has two parallel sides of length 5 centimeters and 9 centimeters. Okay, so we're told that the area is 91 centimeters and we are to find the distance between the parallel sides. So this is a good pictorial view of what can be obtainable in this particular case. So we have two parallel sides, and the smaller one was given as 5 centimeters, the other one as 9 centimeters. This is a triangle, and we have the distance between them, those two parallel sides, to be h. Now we are given that the area of this trapezium is 91 centimeters square. Generally, area of a trapezium is given as 1 over 2 into the sum of the parallel sides multiplied by the height. And in this particular question, what we are looking for is the height. Okay, that's what we are looking for. As a rule of thumb, students, you don't need to plug in values and try using your calculator. You can make it a rule of thumb to just say that you put in the unknown as the subject of the formula. In this case, if you cross multiply, these two will go to meet the area, and so you have 2 multiplied by the area and then over the sum of the parallel sides. So if you want to just, now your work is quite simple. You can now input the values. What's the area that we're giving? 91 centimeters square. Then we have 5 plus 9 as the sum of the parallel sides. So we have, this is 2 times 91 divided by 5 plus 9 is 14. So we can have 2 here 1, 2 in 14 is 7, 7 here 1, 7 in 9 is 1, remaining 2. Okay, 7 in 21, that is 13. So this is 13 centimeters. And what is helping us to actually solve this question holistically is our understanding of the fact that the area of a trapezium is half multiplied by the sum of the parallel sides multiplied by the distance between them, and that is done and dusted. In this question on coordinate geometry, we are asked to find the value of p if the line that passes through the point -1, minus p and the point -2, 2 is parallel to the line 2y plus 8x minus 17 is equal to 0. Students, you need to know what you are doing here, and just since this is like a tutorial, okay, let me just come up with a guide that can really help you solving this type of question. Okay, so let's assume that we have our Cartesian coordinate like this, and this is going to be what the graph is going to look like. I understand that because I know that from this particular question, what you have is that 2y is equal to minus 8x plus 17. I mean, if you divide all through by 2, we are going to have y is equal to minus 4x plus 17 over 2. 17 over 2 will be 8.5. Okay, I want to write it straight like this. What I just did there is I divided each of these terms over 2, since 2 is here. So I want to reflect it that is only y remaining here. So 2y over 2 is y, minus 8x over 2 is minus 4x, 17 over 2 is 8.5. So you can now compare this to y is mx plus c, okay? If you are saying y is mx plus c, this is the implication. C is the intercept on the y-axis. So here, this is C. You are saying this is 8.5. Okay. M is the slope. And you can see it is a negative slope. So that is why the graph is coming like this. If it's a positive slope, it would have been going like this, starting from the origin and increasing, so that the increase in y will correspond to increase in x also. But here, that is not the case. Okay. That's not the case. So we are having minus 4 as a slope. So the minus 4 will go like this. Let me shift this. You can just sometimes just look at your question and you prefer solution out. But in this particular case, actually you are going to solve, and that is what we are going to be doing now. So this is a 4 unit change on the y-axis corresponding to a 1 unit change on the x-axis. So that being said, for this particular equation, we are told that the value of p that we are looking for, which is joining this other point minus 2,2, is parallel to the line 2y plus 8x minus 17 is 0, meaning that they both share the same slope. When they are saying something is parallel, they are just saying that apart from this particular line, we also have another line here, okay? And both of them, this initial one that we are looking at and this new one that we have, they have the same slope. And what is the slope of the first one that we have here? By comparing this equation and this general equation, we are saying that we have the m, the slope, to be minus 4. Okay, good and wonderful. So the slope we have to be minus 4, and we have 2 points, minus 1 comma minus p, and point minus 2 comma 2. Okay, and what is the definition of slope? The definition of slope is given that we are having change in y-axis over change in x-axis. So looking at this particular equation, if we call this x1, y1, and we'll call this x2, and this is y2, this particular equation, we can say it is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That is going to give us nothing but the slope m that we are talking about. Okay, so if that's the case, we can just bring in all the factors here. What is the value for m that we had initially? We have it that m is minus 4 is equal to y2, we are taking it to be 2, 2 minus y1, we are taking that to be minus p. Please don't forget your negative sign. Then x2 we are taking as minus 2, and x1 we are taking as minus 1, again minus 1. All right, so having this, we can just say good and wonderful. We want to cross multiply, and if you are to cross multiply, this is minus 4. Minus 2 minus minus 1 will become minus 2 plus 1. Minus 2, this is minus 2 plus 1. Minus 2 plus 1 is actually minus 1, okay? So this minus 1, when it multiplies this minus 4, it will become 4. 4 is equal to 2. Now, minus times minus again is plus, so I have 2 plus p. So from here, we can just see that p will be 4 minus 2, and that will be 2. So if you look at the options that we are giving, we are saying that option D is 2. And what is seriously helping us is to first understand how we can relate our equation of a line, okay, and compare with the equation that we are given, and then our understanding of the fact that we know slope. So if we have that on our fingertips, we can just use our understanding to help solve this question, and we'll be good and fine. In this question on mensuration, we are told that the ratio of the length of two similar rectangle blocks is 2:3. Then if the volume of the larger block is 351 centimeter cube, we are to find the volume of the other block. So this is something like this. We have to, let's just take, okay, their length is 2:3. the first one, I'll call this the second one. They are telling us that the ratio of their length, L1 ratio L2, is nothing but 2:3. Okay? Now, the question is, when we are looking at the volume of a particular rectangular block, in that particular case, you are going to have something like this. Let me just complete that diagram. So, since they say that they are similar, it's only length that is actually different with them. L1 and L2 are different, but like here, the width is going to be the same. And then let's say this is the breadth is also going to be the same. I can just say, looking at this question, I know that volume is actually proportional to the length, such that if I want to bring in my constant of proportionality, V is going to be KL. And then if I want to have multiple cases, I will have it that, of course, from here, K is V over L. So for me, I can just say what I'm having is V1 over L1 is equal to V2 over L2. So we are told that the length of those two similar blocks is 2:3. If the volume of the larger block, so what we are taking as V2, okay, we are given as like 351, then the volume of the other block is, that means we are looking for V1. And V1, looking at this particular expression that I brought in variation with, I can just say V1 is nothing but V2 multiplied by L1 over L2. So if I want to express that, I can just say the V1, the volume I'm looking for, is the V2. V2 we are given is 351. What is the L of the 2? L2 is a longer one, okay? L1 is a shorter one, so I have this as 2/3. Good. You can try 3 here, 1. 3 in 3 is 1. 3 in 5, 1. Remaining 2. 3 in 21, 7. So I just have 117 multiplied by 2. And look at the option, 234 is there. So this is nothing but 234 centimeter cube. My understanding of variation actually helped me to solve this question on measuration. And that is the ingenuity you need to bring in when you are working in your JAMB mathematics. They need you to actually have insight that you can bring to play and solve your question as appropriate. So with this, our answer is done. Here in this question, we are giving y to be 2x squared multiplied by 2x minus 1. I want to just open the bracket straight. 2x squared times 2x, the 2 will multiply each other to be 4. X squared multiplied by x will be 1x. Then we had the power of the remaining 2 plus 1. That will be 3, okay? Then 2x squared times minus 1 will be minus 2x squared. So this is y. We are now asked to find the derivative of the function at the point x is minus 1. So what we have to find is nothing but dy dx at the point when x is minus 1. Like we generally express, we can say that if y is a multiplied by x raised to power n, dy dx, which is the derivative, is going to be the product of the coefficient and the power multiplied by that variable, but will reduce the power by 1. So our understanding of this rule of differentiation can help us to solve this question, that for this particular expression that we are given, we can say dy dx, first normally will be, our constant is 4, the power is 3, so we are multiplying that 3 with 4, then we reduce the power by 1, 3 minus 1, okay? Then we do the same thing for the second term, minus 2. The power is 2, we bring it down, then we reduce the power by 1. So this is nothing but 4 times 3 is 12. We have x squared, because 3 minus 1 is 2. Minus 2 times 2 is 4. We have x, because 2 minus 1 is x. So that is dy dx, but we are asked dy dx when x is minus 1. So we will say dy dx when x is minus 1 is going to be the same equation, but now instead of putting x, we put minus 1 over 2, then minus 4 multiplied by minus 1. Be careful with your sign. Minus 1 times minus 1, which is minus 1 over 2 raised to power 2, is 1. So we have 12 here. But minus 4 times minus 1, the negative sign will multiply to be plus, then we have 4. So this is 12 plus 4, which is 16. So option B is the correct answer. But what helped us is the understanding of the way to go about expressing derivative and then finding it at the point x is equal to minus 1 as given. In this question on significant figures, numbers, we're asked to actually find this particular expression but correct to 4 significant figures. So we have 2, 4, 1, 0.3 multiplied by, look at this, we have 3 times 10 raised to power minus 3 raised to power 2. So I'm having it as 3 raised to power 2 times 10 raised to power minus 3 raised to power 2. Okay, so I can have this as 241.3. 3 raised to power 2 is 9. Then here, 10 raised to power minus 3 is actually 10 raised to power minus 6, because minus 3 and 2 will multiply each other to be minus 6. So I think this is one of those questions in which we will do well to just use our calculator. This is the type of calculator you'll be expected to work with, okay? Just the basic calculator as found on the system. So we have 241.3 times 9. Okay, that's equal to, so I have this as 2171.7, but I'm having it multiplied by 10 raised to power minus 6. So now, you know, I was deliberate not to put in anything times 10 raised to power minus 6 on the calculator, because I want to be able to evaluate this myself. 10 raised to power minus 6 will mean that I will need to retract the decimal place back in 6 points, okay? So if I'm moving this decimal place back by 6 positions, then I'm going to be having, let me have 2171. So this point I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to bring a 0, 5, another 0, 6. So it's going to be here 0.002171, but I still have my 7 there. So this is 0.0021717. But do I have something like that in the options? No. The closest is these two options. But look at what we are being asked to figure out. We are asked to figure it out in 4 significant figures. So the question is, how do we count our 4 significant figures when we have decimal place like this? Because the zeros here are coming after the decimal point, then they are going to be significant. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are going to stop on this 4th decimal place, and that means we will take 7 and ask ourselves, do we round 7 up to 1 or round it down to 0? 7 is greater than 4. Numbers from 5 to 9, we normally round them up to 1 and add to the previous one. So for this particular question, it will be 0.0022. So this is a question on statistics in which we are asked to find the mean deviation of 1, 2, 3, and 4. For very good students that maybe you practice so much with questions like this, you see that these numbers, they are quite sequential, okay? And so there's going to be no real deviation accrued to them. They are numbers that are following each other, okay? And then evenly spaced, normally your mean deviation should be 1, is unitary. But let's go ahead and try and solve this question. So the mean deviation for this set of data, okay, is not a group data. So it's just the sum of terms from 1 to whatever it is, okay? But you now take the absolute value of each of those terms minus the mean, and you divide by n. So this formula you need to know to be able to solve this particular question on statistics, this question on deviation. And if you look critically, that means you are going to be finding the mean. First, the mean, x bar. So x bar in this case will be the sum of all those numbers, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, over the total numbers, which is 4. 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 3, 6 plus 4, 10. So we have 10 over 4, which is 2 can go. That will be 5 over 2. And that is inherently 2.5. But that's not what we're asked to find, okay? We're asked to find the deviation. So how do we evaluate this formula? The evaluation is like this. You take each of the term of the data set that we are given, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You subtract the mean from them, but you take the absolute value. You don't take the negative value. So that means we are saying in the first case, 1 minus 2.5, but we are looking at the absolute value plus absolute value of 2 minus 2.5 plus the absolute value of 3 minus 2.5 plus the absolute value of 4 minus 2.5. Everything we are dividing by n, which is 4. So if you are to do that, you have 1 minus 2.5 will be 1.5, but we are taking the absolute value, so we are not going to take the negative value, okay? 2 minus 2.5 is 0.5, the absolute value. 3 minus 2.5 is 0.5, and 4 minus 2.5 is 1.5. You can see the linearity here, 1.5, 1.5, 0.5, 0.5. So this is 1.5 and 1.5 is 3, 0.5 and 0.5 is 1. 3 plus 1 is 4, so you have 4 over 4, and that is going to be 1. So, just like I said at the onset, here, you don't need to really fret. The answer is A, 1.0. So we have this question on simple interest, in which we are being asked that at what rate would the sum of 100 naira deposited for 5 years generate an interest of 7 naira 50 kobo? So generally we know our simple interest formula to be the principal multiplied by the rate multiplied by the time over 100. But again, like I used to say, make it a rule of thumb to make your unknown the structure of the formula. So here we are being asked to get the rate. We are looking for rate, okay? So that is R, and we want to make R the structure of the formula here. We cross multiply, okay? So this is like simple interest over 1. And then if we do that, we are going to have it that R is nothing but simple interest multiplied by 100 over principal times time. So we just want to plug in the value here. What's the simple interest that we are giving? We are giving it as 7.5 multiplied by 100, okay, divided by, what's the principal? That was 100, and time is 5 years. So here, 100 can cut 5 year 1, 5 in 7 is 1, remaining 2, 5 in 25, that is 5. So we have that 1 point, okay? We still have that decimal place. So what we are inherently asked to find is nothing but 1.5%. And then looking at the options, we are saying that option C is reflecting that correctly. Okay. In this question on word problem on fractions, we are told that 3 children shared a bucket of mangoes in such a way that the first child took 1 over 4 of the mangoes, the second took 3 over 4 of the remainder. We need to note that it's not of the original share, it's of the remainder. Then we have to get the fraction of mangoes that the third child took. So if we say we want to take X to be the total number of mangoes that we are looking at, or total portion of mangoes. So we have in this case, the first child, we are told that it took 1 over 4 of X, and 1 over 4 of X will be 1 over 4 times X. That will be X over 4. Now, since we have this, we need to get the remainder. The remainder will be X minus X over 4. Like I used to say, here, your mandate is to ensure that you are working smart. So if you have something like this, you have X minus X, you just put 4X over 4, because the 4 will cut out, okay? So you don't need to be finding LCM. Not only because this is quite simple, you can make it a rule of thumb. So what you have here is 3X over 4 remaining of the mango that the first child had taken from, okay? That being said, we can now go to what is happening with the second child, okay? We're told that the second child took 3 over 4 of the remainder. 3 over 4 of remainder, okay? And what's that going to give us? We are going to have 3 over 4 multiplied by the remainder we just got here to be 3x over 4, okay? So we just multiply this out. 3 times 3 is 9. We have 9x over 4. That is what? No, not over 4. 4 times 4 is 16. We have 9x over 16, okay? So now the question we are being asked, having gotten the portion that the first child took and the portion that the second child took, we are being asked, what is the portion that the third child took? That will be the total amount of mangoes which we took to be X minus the amount that the first child took, and here this is the amount that he took. It's X over 4. We are told in the original question, he took 1 over 4 of the oranges, so we have this minus X over 4. Then again, minus the portion of the second child, which is 9x over 16, so minus 9x over 16. So this is what we just need to find out, and we can just find the LCM, okay? X is just like X over 1, in which we just have it as 16x, so that 16 can cut and X alone will remain. minus, in the second case, 4 in 16 is 4. 4 times x will be 4x. Then the last one is just over 16 already, so we have it as minus 9x. So minus 4x minus 9x is minus 13x. 16 minus 13 is 3x. So we have this as 3x over 16. We are the one that introduced the x, okay, is a fraction. So what we have inherently is just 3 over 16. And looking at the option, we can see option A is corresponding to that as a correct answer here. So here in this question, we have to simplify and express in standard form this particular set of numbers that we are given to multiply each other. So as a rule of thumb, students, the best thing for you to do is to just take these as whole numbers and then multiply them in standard form and raise that power to whatever is appropriate for it. Like in the first case here, we have 0.00275. So I'm moving this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to be having 275 times 10 raised to power minus 5, okay, multiply by first this particular second term. I'm moving this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I need to move it 5? Yes, I need to move it 5. 5. No, I don't need to move it 5 because it is not a significant 0, okay? So I only need to move it 4. So this will be times 64 times 10 raised to power minus 4, okay, divided by, I'm moving this 1, 2, 3, okay, so I'm having 25 times 10 raised to power minus 3, and then I'm moving this 1, 2, I'm having 8 times 10 raised to power minus 2. So if you can succeed to express this just like this, then you can go ahead to say you want to cut out the numbers that are factors of one another. 8 can go in 64, 8. 5 can go here, 5. 5 in 27 is 5, remaining 2. 5 in 25 is 5. Again, 5 can go here, 1. 5 here, 11. So, inherently, we are having 11 times 8, that is 88. Then let's take the tens. I have minus 5. For this particular one is minus 4. Then, since this division is coming, I have minus, I have minus 3 as a 10, then again, minus 2. So I can just have this as 88 times 10 raised to power. Minus 5 minus 4 is minus 9. Minus 3 minus 2 is minus 5. But this negative sign will multiply that minus 5 to become plus. So I have plus 5. So I have this as 88 times 10 raised to power minus 4. Okay? So if I want to reflect 88 and 10 raised to power minus 4, I know that 88 itself, I can take one decimal place out, and this will be times 10 raised to power 1. When that one is coming on minus 4, it will reduce to be minus 3. And so, looking at the options that I'm having here, the correct answer will be option C. Right. Here is a question on solved in which you have to solve this particular expression, root 27 plus 3 over root 3. Okay, this is going to be a play on our understanding here. I can just multiply this second term, the numerator and the denominator, by root 3. And now I can see that just having done this, root 3 multiplied by root 3 is just as if you're having 3 raised to power half multiplying by 3 raised to power half. That's nothing but 3, a single 3, and you add the power. So this is actually 3 raised to power 1, which is 3. So this denominator is nothing but 3. Then I will have the root 27, which is itself root 9 times 3, okay, plus, since I'm saying that the denominator is 3, I'm having 3 over 3 multiplied by root 3, because these two already I got to be 3, okay? So if that is the case, you can see that this 3 will cut out. Root 9 times root 3 is root 9 multiplied by root 3, and root 9, we know that that is 3. So I can just write this out as saying this is 3 root 3 plus, here we only have a single root 3, and 3 root 3 plus root 3 is just as if you're having 3x plus x. That will give you 4x now. So in this case also, you can just say this is nothing but 4 root 3. And from the option, you can see that option A is corresponding to that answer. Yeah, we have a question on fraction, okay, that is featuring a word problem. And we have been told that 3 brothers in a business deal share the profit at the end of their contract. Congratulations to them. Okay, so the first received 1/3 of the profit. So the first brother received 1/3 of P, if P is the profit, and then the second received 2/3 of the remainder. So before we go to the second, we need to find the remainder, okay? So here, if 1/3 is gone, the remainder will be 1 minus 1/3 of P. And that is just as if you are saying 3/3 minus 1/3. So that will just be 2/3P. Okay, so this is the remainder, okay? But originally, the first one received 1/3P. So having done that, I can now say the second one, we're told that he collected 2/3 of the remainder. That's 2/3 of what's our remainder? Is 2/3P. So that is 2/3 times 2/3P, and that is nothing but 4/9P. Okay, and then if the third received the remaining 12,000, what is the fraction of the third? Now they want to trace it for us to say he received 12,000. Well, I can say 12,000, and looking at my options, I'm saying 1,000. For me, I love to do short, and I will just say this is 12K. Now that 12K is synonymous to the original value. If I take it as a unitary value, that is 1, minus what the first child took, which is 1/3P. So minus 1/3, minus what the second child took, which is 4/9. So I can say minus 4/9. And you can notice I'm not writing my P because I'm going to reflect P outside. Okay? So 12K is equal to this expression multiplied by P. Then I can say that means that inherently 12,000 is equal to 9 is the LCM. In this fourth case, I will have 1. And for 1 in 9 is 9. 9 times 1, that is 9. Then 3 in 9, that is 3. 3 times 1, I'm having 3. Then the third one is just a straight case multiplied by P. So from here, I can just say 9 minus 3, that is 6. 6 minus 4, that is 2. So I'm having 12K is equal to 2/9P. And P will be just a matter of cross multiplying. It's as if I have 12/1. If I cross multiply, then I'm going to have it that P will be 12K times 9/2. The 2 here 1, 2 in 12K is 6K. 6K times 9K, that's going to be 54K. So my P is nothing but 54K. I'm the one that introduced the K. It means 54,000. Okay? So I can just look at my options and say, this is the right option, 54,000. That is the original profit that they were sharing, because that's what we're asked to evaluate. Okay, an interesting question here on coordinate geometry. We're told that point P, which is given as minus 6,1, and Q, which is 6,6, are 2 ends of the diameter of a given circle, and we're to calculate the radius of the circle. We want to represent that out. Okay, maybe we have something like this. So we are being told that there are 2 points P and Q. So this is point P, which is minus 6,1, and this point Q, which is 6,6. So you trace just like this. So this will be 1, and here will be minus 6, and also this will be 6, and this will be 6. Okay? Okay, I think that is quite looking like it. And then we are told that these two ends of the diameter of the circle, they are just like this. And then look at what we're asked to find. We're asked to find the radius of the circle. Now, this is a good thing about this particular question. If you look critically, this is radius, that is also radius. It is the distance from one point of the circumference to the center of the circle. So what we need to look for is this diameter, okay, the value of this diameter, which is 2r, and equate it to the distance between point P and Q. So there is the general formula that we use to find the distance between 2 points on the Cartesian coordinate. And here, since we are given as PQ, you can say PQ raised to power 2. And you will notice that PQ, which is diameter, is nothing but 2r. So if you note that, okay, you can say PQ raised to power 2 is actually equal to, this is how we find it, the difference between the x coordinate plus the difference between the y coordinate. But you need to maintain your consistency. You cannot say x2 minus x1, then say y1 minus y2. That should be x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1. Or you can say x1 minus x2, then y1 minus y2. Just be consistent. So if you are to evaluate this and solve this, so you can take q as our 2, p as our 1. In that case, what's the value for x? The first one is always x. It is x comma y. And the same thing we apply here, x comma y. So here it will be 6 minus, what is the other value for x? It is minus 6. Don't forget your sign. Raised to power 2 plus, for the y, y2 is also 6. What is y1? y1 is 1. So 6 minus 1 raised to power 2. So this is going to give us 6 minus minus 6 will become 6 plus 6, which is 12. So we have 12 square plus 6 minus 1 is 5. And we have this as 5 square. 12 square is 144. 5 square is 25. So PQ square is going to give us 169, such that PQ itself, PQ is going to be square root of 169, and that is 13. But what are we asked to find? Students, you are going to see 13 is here, but 13 is not your final answer. You are asked to find R, and already we have defined it here that PQ is 2R, such that R will be PQ over 2, and that is 13 over 2. That will be 6.5 units. This is what you need to take note of to understand and note, and then you will get your answer right. You just need to understand that the distance between the 2 points, which we are told is diameter, is 2r. And then when we find that distance, we can evaluate the value of r to pick our answer to be 6.5 units. Okay, here in this question again on circle, so the angle of a sector of a circle which has radius 10.5 centimeters is 48 degrees. So if you want to just draw that sector, let's take it here, it's 48, so shouldn't be up to 90. So we are giving this to be that this angle is nothing but 48 degrees. Well noted. But we are giving the radius to be, this is r, and this is r. That r we are giving to be 10.5 centimeters. So we are to find the perimeter of this sector. How do we find the perimeter of a sector? That will be the sum of all the sides of the sector. And what constitutes the side of that particular sector? I want to show us in purple. So we have this, that is r, this is another r, and then there's this other part. Okay, so if I want to call that, I can say this is the length of an arc. So the perimeter of that sector that we are asked to find is from the diagram. That's why I took my time to find the diagram. The perimeter will be the sum of all the sides. And what are the sides that we have here? We have r, we have another r, we have the length of an arc. So we have 2r plus the length of an arc. And what's the formula for length of an arc? If you want to reflect, that will be 2r plus length of an arc is theta over 360 multiplied by 2 pi r. Okay, I'm having something interesting here. So R we're given as 10.5, so 2 times 10.5 plus, what's that theta? Is 48 degrees over 360 degrees multiplied by 2. Pi is 22 over 7. Then multiplied by R. R is 10 over 5 again. 10 over 5. So we can just try and find a means of solving this out. Okay. All can go. Noting that these are all together while that is standing alone. 12 can go here for 12 in 360. That will be 30. Okay. 2 can go here 2 can go here 15. Okay. 10.5. 10.5 we can pick as 21 over 2. Okay, that's also 10.5. Because I don't want to use my calculator. Let me just try and see what I can do. So these 2 can also cut these 2. 3 can go here 5. 3 can go here 7. Good. 7 here 1. 7 here 1. So that will be 2 times 10.5 is 21 plus, here I'm going to have 2 times 22 is 44 over 5. 5 in 40 is 8. Okay, 4 again is 8. So I have 8.8. So good. 21 plus 8.8, and that will be 29.8 centimeters. Okay, and do we have anything like that in the option? Yes, option D, 29.8 centimeters. Here in the question of mensuration, we're asked to find the length of a side of rhombus whose diagonals are 6 centimeters and 8 centimeters. So if you are to take this as a pictorial view of our rhombus, and we are talking about the diagonals of the rhombus, so we are going to have something like this in which the diagonals are cutting themselves at right angles. So here we are told that those diagonals are 6 centimeters and 8 centimeters. If they are 6 and 8 and they are cutting themselves, then this will be 4 and 4 for the longer one, and this will be 3 and 3 for the other one. Okay, so we are asked to find the length. So this is the length that we are asked to find. Let's call it x. And looking at this, we're already seeing that x is generating a set of Pythagoras theorem for a right angle triangle for this particular rhombus, so that we have it that if we are applying Pythagoras theorem, s squared will be 4 square plus 3 square. Okay, and if we want to express that, that means we have s squared to be 4 square is 16, 3 square is 9, that will be 25, and x will be the square root of 25. Square root of 25 is nothing but 5 centimeters. In short, if you are familiar with your Pythagoras theorem, so you know that once you have 4, 3, and you're looking for the hypotenuse, then your hypotenuse is nothing but 5. So 5, option B, is the correct answer here. So here in this question, we are told that each of the interior angles of a regular polygon is 140 degrees. How many sides has the polygon? There is the formula that the sum of the interior angles of a polygon is generally given as n minus 2 multiplied by 180 degrees. Okay, and then if that is the case, like in this question, each of those angles, each angle will now be that sum divided by the number of sides. Okay, so this is what they have given us to be 140 degrees. You can see the total that each of the interior angles is 140 degrees. So if we are looking at this, we are looking for a means to find the number of sides, which is n of the polygon. I think this equation is just sufficient for us. This equation is sufficient for us to find that. So if we want to get it out, we can just cross multiply, and we have n minus 2 multiplied by 180 is equal to 140n. If you open up this bracket, 180 times n is 180n minus 2 times 180 is 360 is equal to 140n. So if 140n moves to the left hand side, we have 180n minus 140n is 360, because it will be positive in moving to that side. So 180 minus 140, we have that as 40n is 360, and to get n, you can just divide by 40, and here on the left hand side, 40 will cut out, then n will be 36 over 4 and that is 9. So looking at the options, you can see option A is the correct one. In this question on mensuration, we are told that a cylindrical pipe made of metal is 3 centimeters thick. Now, the internal radius of the pipe is 10 centimeters, and we are to find the volume of the metal that is used in making 3 meters of the pipe. Now, students, I want you to take note of this. Whenever you are working, your units are very important, so you need to ensure consistency across the unit. If you look at this question, you have 3 centimeters, 10 centimeters, but here you have 3 meters. It's not a typographical error, it's quite deliberate. So if you are not careful, you will miss out on that. If you are to look at the scenario that's being created there, this is something that we are going to have, in which we are told that is made up of metal, which is 3 centimeters thick. So from here to here, or let me just say 3 centimeters thick, and then the internal radius from that edge to this particular center, this was given as also 10 centimeters. So we also have this as 10 centimeters. Okay. Now we are to find the volume of the metal that is used to make 3 meters of the pipe. So we have actually some length that is 3 meters by specification, and we are to find the volume. Now, how do we find the volume of this cylindrical pipe? You can notice that it is an hollow pipe, okay? So normally your volume will be the volume of the bigger cylinder minus the volume of the smaller cylinder, okay? Where capital R here is referring to the bigger cylinder and small r is referring to the other one. Now, if you observe that, you see that here you have pi and L common to those two equations. Then we have r squared minus, in short, this is quite interesting. This is nothing but for the r squared and the smaller r squared, this is actually difference of 2 squares. You do have to actually note that, okay? There is a difference of 2 squares, because it will help you to solve your question directly and on the go. So what is your capital R? That's the bigger radius. It will be that 10 plus that 3, okay, because it is from the center to the edge. So that will be 10 plus 3, that will be 13 centimeters. And what will be your smaller radius? Your smaller radius will just be from the center to the point where the smaller cylinder is stopping. I will just show you that now. So if you are looking at this, that's just a part of the smaller cylinder. So that other R is nothing but just 10 centimeters. So if you are to actually employ all of this to try and solve this question, we'll see that the volume of this particular pipe that we're talking about is nothing but, okay, we are giving our answers in pi. So let's still maintain our pi. What is the L? We're giving us 3 meters, but that will be 3 times 100, and that will be 300 centimeters, because look at these answers, they are given in centimeters. So you must convert all your units to the same units so that you have consistency. So I have pi multiplied by L, that will be multiplied by 300. Now, r squared minus r squared, like I was saying, this is just a difference of 2 squares. So for difference of 2 squares, we are going to have r minus r into bracket multiplied by r plus r into bracket. So I can have 13 minus 10 multiplied by 13 plus 10. Okay, so it is our very good understanding of the fact that the volume of this cylindrical pipe is just the difference between the external one and the internal one. And then we'll be good to go if we have that on our fingertips. So now, we have this to be 300 pi multiplied by 13 minus 10 is 3. Then multiplied by 13 plus 10 is 23. Okay, so can we just multiply this out? 23 times 3, oh, better, 23 times 9. Then I will add the 2 zeros. 9 times 3 is 27, remaining 2. 9 times 2, 18 plus 2, that's 20. So this is nothing but 207, but now I have these other 2 zeros, 00 pi centimeter cube. And looking at the options, you can see that one of the options is corresponding directly to that, and that is option D. Now, a key note here for students: If you forgot to convert 3 meters to centimeters, and you would have gotten B, which is 207 pi, but it is because these 2 zeros are missing. That's why you would have gotten that. But it's not supposed to be. Your correct answer here should be option D. So here we have this question on Lucy, and we are being told that the locus of a point which moves so that it is equidistant from two intersecting straight lines is the what? Is it the perpendicular bisector of the two lines, angular bisector, or the bisector of the two lines itself, or line parallel to the two sides? So let's consider two lines like this, okay? And let's just consider each of the options that were given here. In the first case, we are told the perpendicular bisector of the two lines. In that case, we have for this one something like this, and then we want to mark it off. Then we want to join those lines. See, that's the perpendicular bisector of this, and then this other one will also have a perpendicular bisector coming sort of like this, okay? And of course, that's not defining the locus of those 2 points, right? In the second case, we are told angular bisector of the two lines. So if we have one of the angles here, let's say we are taking this angle, and we'll put our compass here and mark off this, and then we're having something like this. Okay, this is making an interesting case now. So for this, what we notice is that the distance from here to here, distance from here to here, and here, distance from here to here, it will be equidistant from each point of the two lines that we have drawn before. So inherently, this option B defines our answer that the locus of the point that moves such that it is equidistant, this distance here and this distance here, from the two lines where it is actually being taken, is the angular bisector of those two lines. So option B is the correct answer here. For this question on representation of data, we are told that 4, 16, 30, 20, 10, 14, and 26 are represented on a pie chart. We are to find the sum of the angles of those sectors that are representing all numbers equal to or greater than 16. So this is a classical example of a case in which you need to do smart work to solve this question, okay? Now, look at what they are giving us. If we even look critically at the options, you can just pick your answer, because they are saying that we are to represent all numbers equal to or greater than 16. And look at these values. Where are the numbers that are greater than 16? We have 16, 30, 20, we have 26. That is quite huge. By the time you look at all of those, you can see that they should correspond to 276 because they are the larger percentage. But well, no problem. If you want to just confirm by working, you can just work. Even the work, we still need to work smart. For example, instead of just looking at all those numbers and the total and finding the percentage, which is the ideal thing to do, I will just say, look at the other area, because it said numbers equal to or greater than 16. Now, I want to work smart. I want to look at numbers less than 16. I have 4, okay. I have 10, okay. I have 14. So is this 4, 10, and 14 that are less than 16? What is their sum? That is 18. That is 28. Very good. In the other case, the other numbers, okay, if you want to find them, we have 4 and 16 is 20 total numbers. 4 and 16 is 20. 20 plus 30, 50, plus 20, 70, plus 10, 80, plus 14, 94, plus 26 is 120. Okay? So, the sum of angles of those bisectors, I can just say the sectors that are left out, apart from the one that they are asking us, is going to be 28, which is what I got here, okay, over 120 times 360 degrees, okay? Other sector, let me just write that out. So 12 can go here, 1, 12 in 360 is 3. 28 times 3 is what? 3 times 8 is 24, remaining 2. 2 times 3 is 6, plus that 2 is 8, is 84 degrees. So the other sector is 84 degrees out of 360 degrees. That means what we're asked to find, the sector representing numbers equal to or greater than 17, the sector that we are looking for is 360 minus 84. And that's going to be what? 10 minus 4 is 6. Okay, remaining 5. 5 minus 8, 15 minus 8 is 7, remaining 2. So 276 degrees. And you see, that's what I was just looking at originally. That this option D is definitely the answer. So working smart, once you can interpret your question correctly, can help you gain time. I was just taking time like this because we are explaining and trying to make students out there to really grasp what we're doing. But in the exam, by the time you actually have an idea of what we are talking about, of course, that's why you are here watching this video, then you know that this is just a walkover, a bonus question, you are done and you are dusted. In this question, we are told that the mean of 10 positive numbers is equal to 16. And that 16 is inherently meaning that what we have as summation xi over n is equal to 16. Okay? And that n, we are told that it is 10. So instead of this, I can just say this is 10. So that the sum of all those numbers is 16 times 10. And that is 160. Sum of the 10 numbers. So now we are being told that another number is added and the mean becomes 18. We have to find the 11th number. No problem. What we are just saying is that the sum initially is 160. So we add another number to that 160. 160 plus x over the total numbers now will be 10 plus 1 because we've added another number. And we said we're told that that mean is 18. If you cross multiply, we just have 160 plus x is equal to 18 times 11. 18 times 11 will be 18 multiplied by 18. So 198. Good. So that is 198. So that x, the new number, is 198 minus 160. What's 198 minus 160? That will be 38. And looking at our options, we can see 38 reflecting in option C. We're told that two numbers were removed from the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we are to find the probability that the sum of the numbers removed is even. This is a classical question on probability, and we have the numbers. We're having the sum, okay, and here we're having those numbers as 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So we are looking at cases in which the sum will be even. Definitely 3 and 1, this will be 4. 1 and 1 will be 2. 2 and 2 will be 4. 2 and 4 will be 6. 3 and 1, okay, that will be 4. 3 and 2, no, that's not going, that's not even. 3 and 3 is 6. Then 4 and 2 is 6. 4 and 4 is 8. So very good. We are having our desired outcome to be, let me move this. We're having our desired outcome to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is going to be our desired outcome. So in this particular question, the desired outcome, and that outcome is talking about even numbers, is 8. Our possible outcomes, total possible outcomes that we can have, here in this case is 4 times 4, that is 16. So the probability of getting even number is nothing but 8 over 16, and 8 over 16 will be 1 over 2. Lord have mercy. The case in which we want to look at without repetition, you just pick the ball once, and the ones you picked, you cannot pick again. Then our options will now be, from here we have 1, 2, we have 1, 3. These are the ones that will give us even numbers, okay? Then 1, 4, that will be odd. No. So these are the combinations with 1. Then we can write for 2. We can say 2 and 1. But 2 and 1 is here already. We cannot say 2 and 1 again. So we can only say we are looking at 2 and 3. And note that 2 and 3 is also the same as 3 and 2. Okay? and next we can look at 2 and 4, and then finally we can look at 3 and 4. So in this particular case, the possible outcomes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is 6. Our desired outcome that the sum should be even is only this. This desired outcome is 1, 3, and 2, 4. So that will be nothing but 2. Therefore, the probability is, in this case, 2 over 6, and that is 1 over 3. I will stick with 1 over 3, okay, because repetition is not mentioned. So don't let me introduce what was not mentioned originally in the question. So I'll pick option 3, option C. Well, that's my personal preference here. All right. So here we have to find the probability that a number selected at random from 41 to 56 is a multiple of 9. Multiple of 9. 41 to 56 is going to feature 56 minus 41 plus 1 numbers. So it's like saying we are saying 56 minus 40. So that's going to be 16. So total possible selection is 16. How many numbers between 41 and 56 are multiples of 9? 9 times 5 is 45. So I have 45. Okay. 9 times 6, that is 54. So I have 54. And it's only those two that are featurable in this particular range. So the probability of picking a multiple of 9 is nothing but the number of occurrence here is 2 over the total possible is 16, and that will be 1 over 8. So option A here is the correct answer. In this question on simple interest, we are told that Musa borrows 10 naira at 2% per month. So we need to know that. And it's a per month simple interest and repays 8 naira after 4 months. How much does it still owe? Okay. If you look at what we have here, we have the time, we have the principal, okay, and we have the rate. We are giving all of those. In short, we can just say the time is 4 months. The principal here is 10 naira, and then the rate is 2%. So ideally, if you want to look at the formula for simple interest, that is the principal times rate times time over 100. This is what will help us to solve this, because principal was given as 10, rate as 2%, time as 4. Dividing this by 100, we have 10 year 1, 10 year 10. So this is 8 over 10. The simple interest is 8 over 10, and that is 0.8 naira. Okay, so if that is the case, it just means that after 4 months, the total amount of money that this guy needs to pay, to be paid by Musa, is nothing but the original rate, which is the principal, plus the simple interest. And if you look at that, that will be 10 naira plus 80 kobo. Okay, so that is inherently 10.80. Now, if he repays 800 naira, this is just the solution to where we are going. After paying 8 naira, he still owe 10 naira 80 kobo minus 8 naira, and that is equal to 2 naira 80 kobo. Okay, so if you look at the options, option C is reflecting that is still the amount he is still owing. So if you look at the options, you can see that option C is showing that it is 2 naira 80 kobo that is still owed. So we have this question on logarithm that we are to attempt to simplify, and looking at this, think it would be best to just express everything in fractions, use a common logarithm, and then just multiply, divide as appropriate. Because look at the options that we have. We only have log 3, and even here we are not yet having log 3 at all. So if we just modify this, we can say in the first case we are having, I can take these two to be the power of this particular logarithm that we are looking at. Okay, so in that case it will be log 2 over 5 raised to power 2 minus log of 72 over 125, okay, plus log of 9. So if this is the case, I can just, 2 over 5 raised to power 2, I know that will be 4 over 25. Get the power up and the power down. So once I have that, I can just go ahead to say, I want to use a singular logarithm, and then I have this as, the first case is 4 over 25. Second case is divided by 72 over 125, because I'm combining the logarithm already. That's why I'm writing only a single log. So negative will become division, positive will become multiplication times 9 over 1. Okay? So if that is the case, I can just say what I'm having is nothing but log of 4 over 25. Now, because of the division, I can reverse that, times 125 over 72 times 9 over 1. So let me try and cut this now. 25 here 1, 25 here 5, 4 here 1, 4 in 72, and 1 18. Okay, 9 here 1, 9 in 18 2. So I have this to be nothing but, wow, this is interesting, log of 5 over 2. But looking at the answers, looking at the options that I have here, we have log 2 here, we have log 2 here. So that's an indication of what we are looking for. In short, we can say 5 itself is 10 over 2. Okay. So it's as if we are saying this is nothing but log 10 over 4. Okay, 5 over 2 itself is 10 over 2. But we'll still have these two remaining. So those two will multiply each other to be 4. So I can say this is log of 10 minus log of 4, which is 2 raised to power 2. So this will be log of 10 is 1. Then these 2 can actually come down, minus 2 log of 2. And it's because I have my answers in this format that I was trying to look at the ingenious way that, okay, how do we go about trying to solve this particular question? Then I can reflect that, yeah, my log 5 over 2, I can actually express as 5 can become 10 over 2. And then I can look at the solution to see that option D is the correct option here. So here we have a word problem on speed. That in the first case, a car travels from Calabar to Enugu. So we have Calabar going to Enugu. Okay? Which is a distance of P kilometers. This as P kilometers. And then is running with an average speed of U kilometer per hour. Okay? And then afterwards, he also continues to Benin. Okay, this is Enugu. This is Benin. Benin is a distance of Q kilometers away. And then the average speed is W kilometer per hour. So we have to find the average speed from Calabar to Benin. Well, that's not a big problem. First, we need to look at the total distance, because the speed will be distance over time. So the total distance will be P plus Q kilometers. And then we need to find the total time that you use for the journey. In the first place, we need to know that time itself, from speed is equal to distance over time. We can deduce that time is distance over speed. All right. So in this case, you can say the time will be the distance over the speed. So for the first instance, what is the distance? It is P. What is the speed? It is U. The second instance, what is the distance? It is Q. What is the speed? It is W. So we can just find the LCM here, UW. So this will be, of course, you can go here, remaining W, we have WP plus QU. The same thing applies to that. So having done this, we can now say we want to find the average speed. Average speed will be nothing but the total distance that we have gotten already over the total time. And now that will be, distance is P plus Q over, okay, the inverse of all of this now. So that will be P plus Q multiplied by UW over WP plus QU. Again, I'm saying that I'm jumping those steps because we need to be smart and fast trying to solve questions like this. So looking at our options, we have UW, P plus Q. The base is PW plus QW. Yes. In this question, we are told that if W varies inversely as UV over U plus V, and W is 8 when U is 2 and V is 6, we have to find the relationship between U, V, and W. We need to be able to interpret this correctly because they said W varies how? Inversely. Inversely means 1 over UV over U plus V. Okay, so if we can be judicious enough to note this, we can see that for us to introduce our constant of proportionality, because this is a question of variation, we can say W is equal to, of course, all of this will mean that we're inversing this denominator, so it is K multiplied by U plus V over UV. But we are given the value of W, U, and V already. So from here, we can just say, therefore, what is K? K is nothing but cross multiply, W will multiply UV, we have W, UV over the sum of U and V, okay, that is K. And then, for the values that we're given, we can just say, using those values, K will be, W is 8, U is 2, V is 6, over U plus V. U plus V will be 2 plus 6. 2 plus 6 itself is 8. 8 can cancel this 8. So K is 12. Oh, beautiful. If K is 12, then the equation, which is originally this, that's the equation that we are looking for. But now we need to put in the value of the constant and say W is, K is what? 12. Then we have U plus V. Oh, okay, they wrote it linearly over UV, and if you cross multiply, we can just have this to be UWV or UVW is 12 into U plus V. Is there any option corresponding to that in our options? We have UVW is 12U plus V, so option C is the correct answer here. Okay, in this question on binary operations, we are told that G of X is defined as S squared plus 3x, and then we have to find G of X plus 1 is equal to M, and then we have to find G of X plus 1 minus G of X. So this is what we need to find out. In G of X plus 1, everywhere we see X, we are going to put X plus 1 is equal to then plus 3x plus 1. Okay, so if you have to just solve this, X plus 1 is equal to will be S squared plus X times 1 plus another X times 1, that will plus 2x plus 1, then again plus 3x plus 3. That is G into X plus 1. You can still further solve it. This S squared, 2x plus 3x is 5x, 1 plus 3 is 4. Then we have G of X already. So if we want to open up the bracket to say we are looking for G of X plus 1 minus G of X, it will be this whole equation minus this particular one. So that is going to give us S squared plus 5x plus 4 minus S squared plus 3x. So here, S squared. So if I have to look at that, that will be 5x here plus 4. Then this minus we have had this to have minus 3x, and that will be 5x minus 3x is 2x plus 4. So x 2 is common to both. We have 2 into x plus 2. So looking at the options that we have, 2 into x plus 2, this is the correct answer to this question. In this question, we are told to factorize a polynomial of degree 3, and this is a classical example of an area in which you need to work smart. Okay, you need to work smart. So, how do we go about factorizing this? We need to not just be cracking our head. Instead, we can just say we want to make use of the factor theorem. So, factor theorem can help us out. And factor theorem, in this case, we say that if m minus 1 is a factor of that polynomial that we are looking for, then the function of 1, which is gotten by saying m minus 1 is equal to 0, then m will be 1 when 1 moves to the other side. Then function of 1 is equal to 0. So we want to test here. Let's look at function of 1. If it is 0, then that means m minus 1 is a factor of this particular expression. So we have, wherever we see m, we are going to put 1. We have 1 raised to the power 3 minus 1 raised to the power 2 plus 2 multiplied by 1 minus 2. So the first two terms, this is 1. The second one, these are 2, and they cancel out each other. So that means that m minus 1 is a factor. So the same way we can say we want to look at other factors. But for me, since I've known that and I'm seeing that the options are varied, I can just do a long division and just try and quickly express that out. Like here, and now I'm going to have, what is the factor that I'm okay with now? It is m minus 1. From here, I can say m minus 1 is a factor. I want to use m minus 1 to divide m cubed, not plus, minus m squared plus 2m minus 2. Okay, so m in m raised to the power 3 is m raised to the power 2. Okay, m raised to the power 2 times m will give me m raised to the power 3. M raised to the power 2 times minus 1 will give minus m raised to the power 2. So if I subtract this lower one from this upper one, of course, that is nothing. So I can bring this down, 2m minus 2. m into m, that is 2. 2 times m is 2m. 2 times another one is minus 2, and good. So what we have is that the factors for that polynomial is nothing but, in the first case, m minus 1 that we tested with the factor theorem, and here m squared plus 2. There is no further way we can factorize m squared plus 2, so the solution will be option D. So in this question, we are told that the angles of a quadrilateral are given as shown there, and we are to find the smallest of these angles. Now, what we need to note is that we are talking about a quadrilateral here. And what is the meaning of a quadrilateral? It means the number of sides n is equal to 4. So we can use the formula for the sum of interior angles of a polygon as n minus 2 multiplied by 180. In this case, we have it that n is 4, so we have 4 minus 2 times 180. That would be 360, okay? And of course, that means it's actually a quadrilateral indeed, just like rectangle, which also has 4 sides. The sum of those angles is 360. So in this case, we need to just sum all of these angles that we have and equate them to that 360. So that sum will be 4 minus 2 times 180, and 4 minus 2 times 180 is 2 times 180, which is 360. So if you are to add all of those, we are going to have 5x plus 30 plus 4x plus 60 plus 60 minus x plus 3x plus 61 is equal to 360, which is the sum of all of those angles. So you just want to take it, 5x and 4x is 9x, 9x minus x is 8x, 8x plus 3x, we have 11x, then plus, this is supposed to be negative, this is 5x minus, this is 5x minus 30. So if we want to compute that again, we can say minus 30 plus 60, that's 30 plus 60, 90, 90 plus 61, that will be 151. That's going to be 360 degrees, such that, so here 11x will be 360 minus 151. I'll put 151 here, that will be 209, okay, 209, and x itself will be 209 over 11, 209 over 11, 99, that would be 19, okay, because 19, 19, 902, okay, so I was just using my eyes to try and get that. So x is 19, x being 19, we can now look at all those angles to see what we are going to find. Like we have 5x minus 30, we have 4x plus 60, we have 60 minus x, we have 3x plus 61. So if you want to look at that, 5x minus 30, 19 times 5 will be 95 minus 30. This is 65. Okay, 4x, 19 times 4, that's 20 times 4 minus 4. 80 minus 4, that is 76. 76 plus 60. This is quite huge. This is like 136. 60 minus 19, that will be 60 minus 19, that will be 41. Okay, 3x plus 61, this also will be large. 19 times 3, 27, that's 57 plus 61, and that will be like 118. So what we asked to find was to get the smallest of those angles. That smallest is 60 minus x degrees, because it's the one, as you can see here, that's the smallest. So option C is the correct answer. In this question on sequence and series, we are asked to find the nth term of the sequence 2, 6, 12, 20, and so on. Again, this is a classical example of a question in which we need to work smart, okay? Because we need to deduce the formula for the nth term, and we have all of this term. Most of the time, students will start with when n is 1, when n is 2, when n is 3, and the truth of the matter is that most times, the first 2 or the first 3 terms, all of them, most times they will be the same. So, as a rule of thumb, it's best start with the last term. Okay, in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So start with the fourth term. If the formula will conform to that fourth term, then you can go and recheck again. Okay, so like in the first option, 4n minus 2. Fourth term means that our n is equal to 4. So when we are talking about 4n minus 2, we are talking about 4 times 4 minus 2. That's 16 minus 2. 16 minus 2 is 14. And what is that fourth term that we have? We have it as 20 given in this particular question. So definitely option A is out. That's not the solution. In option B, we have 2 multiplied by 3 raised to power n is 4 minus, in short, this cannot be the solution because 3 is not a factor of 20. So I don't need to test further. If you divide 20, you can use 3 to divide 20 and get a whole number. And since 3 is already reflecting, I don't need to solve further. That would be wrong. So, yeah, when n is 4, we have n squared. That would be 4 squared plus n. That's a 4. Okay, good. It's 16 plus 4. So that is 20. Let's hold that. We need to check for all of the options. In the last case, n squared plus 3n plus 2. So we have 4 squared plus 3n, 3 times 4 plus 2. So this will be 16 plus 12 plus 2. 16 plus 14, this will be 30. So this is also wrong. And then this is the only one. Okay, so picking that fourth term, I can just say my solution is C. So if you have taken maybe when n is 1, in the first case, you can say n is 1. So we have 4 times 1 minus 2. That is 2. It's looking as if it's correct. Okay. In the second case, when n is 1, we are having 2 raised to power 3, 1 minus 1. Okay. So, okay, this is 2 times 3 raised to power 0, which is also 2. It's also looking as if it's correct. The third one, of course, the third one will be correct. The fourth one, n is 1. We're having 1 plus 3 plus 2. Again, it also says you look as if it's correct. So you can say that we are wasting time trying to solve that 2. Many of them will still give us the same answer. So it's best we just go ahead and just use the farthest one, okay, like the last term that we have, and then start from there and eliminate the wrong options so that we can get our solution out. In this question on binary operations, we are told that if the binary operation asterisk is defined by m asterisk n is mn, so we have m asterisk n is mn plus m plus n. For any real number m and n, we have to find the identity element under this operation. So, for the identity element under the operation, we need to come to terms with the fact that if E is our identity element, m asterisk E should give us m, and then E asterisk m should give us em plus E plus m. And these two equations, this one and this one, they must be equal. So if we equate those two terms, okay, if we equate those two terms to try and solve this question, we should understand that what we are driving at is that we are saying that m asterisk E must be equal to E asterisk m. That's the peculiarity of identity element. So that's what we are looking at whenever we are trying to solve this particular question. So if we equate those two, we'll see that m is equal to em plus E plus m, and we just try and solve it out, trying to solve for E. This m and this m will knock themselves out. So we have E into m plus 1 is equal to 0. Therefore, okay, if you divide both sides by m plus 1, E will be 0. So the identity element is option D, E is 0. We can check, okay? You can check. For example, if you want to say, when we are saying m asterisk 0, what is that going to give us? To give us m multiplied by 0 plus m plus n, which is 0. So this is, this is 0, this is 0. So this is m, okay? In the other case, if you want to say 0 asterisk m, that will be, again, 0 multiplied by m plus 0 plus m. So this, what this is going to give us? This 0, 0, so to also give us m. So you can see that the identity element E is actually consistent with the solution here. That identity element is nothing but 0. Here in this question, we have to factorize completely 81a raised to power 4 minus 16b raised to power 4. Now, this is where you need to actually be quite observant, and looking at these terms that I'm seeing here and looking at the options, there is an hint that this is actually a difference of two squares, in which a square minus b square is nothing but a minus b multiplied by a plus b. Okay, this is the difference of two squares. So if you want to bring that into play here, look at it 1a4, look at 16b4. This is the same as if I'm having 9a raised to power 2, because 9 times 9 is 81. Okay, 9a square. A square raised to power 2 is a4. Okay, then 16 is also 4b square raised to power 2. So that is actually the essence of each of those terms. So if I want to look at it, that I'm having this, I can rewrite to say this is nothing but 9a square raised to power 2 minus 4b square raised to power 2. So, since I've brought it out to this stage, I can now apply the rule of the difference of two squares to say this will now give me 9a square minus 4b square multiplied by 9a square plus 4b square. Okay, that's interesting. But, wow, this is a good question. Again, 9a square itself, I can write it as 3a raised to power 2, because 3 raised to power 2 is 9, a raised to power 2 is a square, okay? And then 4b square, I can also write as 2b raised to power 2, just following the same thing. So this term, okay, in the first bracket, we can also express again as a difference of two squares. So we'll have it that what we're having is, for this particular one now, we have 3a minus 2b multiplied by 3a plus 2b. not plus b, plus 2b. Then this third term, we have 9a squared plus 4b squared, and this should be the solution to this question. And if you look at the options, 3a minus 2b, 3a plus 2b, 9a squared plus 4b squared, option C is capturing that perfectly well. But it's our understanding of the sum of, is our understanding of the difference of two squares that is giving us the solution and making it feasible for us like this. All right. So here in this question, we're giving this expression, we're to find x if log x to base 9 is equal to 1.5. Classical question in logarithm, but is actually involving change of base, in which we know that if log x to base a is equal to b, then x itself is equal to a raised to power b. So if you can recollect this will inherently help us to solve this question effectively, and once we apply it, our solution is out and we are good to go. So in this particular case, we just want to apply that directly. You can say that for log x to base 9 giving us 1.5, we can just say x that we are looking for is 9 raised to power 1.5. Okay, so 9 raised to power 1.5 is 9 raised to power 3 over 2. Oh, this is interesting. So you can say our x is let's factor out this. This will be 9 raised to power 1 over 2, then raised to power 3. 9 raised to power 1 over 2 itself is square root of 9 raised to power 3. So we are having this as 3, which is the square root of 9 raised to power 3. 3 raised to power 3 is nothing but 27. So our answer here is option A, that the value of x is 27. In this question on inequalities, we are asked to list all the integers satisfying the inequality in minus 2 is less than 2x minus 6 less than 4. Okay, so a general means of approach is to just break it into two, that first minus 2 is less than 2x minus 6, and then 2x minus 6 is less than 4. Okay, so we'll take it that piecewise. Here, we can have it that minus 2 plus 6 is less than 2x. So we have 4 is less than 2x. So that if we divide both sides by 2, it will be that 2 is less than x, or we can say x is greater than 2. Okay, since I just rearranged that. Or here in this case, we can just say 2x is less than 4 plus 6, so that 2x is less than 4 plus 6 is 10, and that will mean that x is less than 10 over 2, which is 5. Okay, so we have x is greater than 2 and x is less than 5. I think this is quite good. If you want to put it on a number line, you can just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Okay, let me just say I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, because it's just that, this is 5, this is 2. So here, I'm having that x is greater than 2 is going like this. X is less than 5 is coming like this. So within this range, and it's not like it is greater than or equal to, meaning that we'll shade this with solid, or in the other case, it's not that it is less than or equal to, meaning that we'll also change it in solid. So what we just need is the set of integers here, and we can see that it is only 3, 4. So looking at the options we have, option D happen to be the correct answer. Okay, so that is the solution to this inequality. So we have this question on bearing and distance trigonometry, in which we are told that point x is due east of point y on a coast. So we are taking the origin from point y, that here, this point in which you have north, south, east, and west. This is point y now. So this is Y. Then X is due east. When they say due east, that means they are talking about something like this. Okay, so here we are going to have this other point as point X. Okay. Then we are told that Z is another point on the coast, but 6 kilometers due south of Y. So again, we are going back to Y and want to take 6 kilometers due south. Let's say we have this as our 6 kilometers. We'll get to point Z. So this is point Z. Okay. And we're given as 6 kilometers. If the distance ZX, this ZX, okay, is 12 kilometers. So from here to here, we are given as 12 kilometers. This is 12 kilometers. We have to calculate the bearing of Z from X. So this is Z, but it's bearing from X. So we go to X to take that bearing. And if we are to draw our 4 cardinal points, so we have north, south, we have east, and here we have the west, okay? No need to reflect that. So the bearing that we are asked to find will be this bearing from the north to the inclination of Z from the north of X. Okay, so and this is the diagram that we have. Very good and very lovely. Let's try and see if we can solve this holistically, because this angle we are looking for, that bearing, think if you are observant, the bearing that we are looking for here will be nothing but, if we can find this angle, we will call that theta, it will be 270 degrees minus theta, because from the north to this particular west is actually 270, that's 3 quadrants, 1, 2, and this particular quadrant, okay? So if I take out theta from here, it will constitute that particular value that I'm looking for. So already we have a question in triangle that we're trying to solve, okay? And then, are we giving anything? Not really, but we have the sides. Okay, I think that will be sufficient for us. From the diagram, you can see that this particular angle that is of interest to us here, this angle, okay, you can see 6 is the opposite to it, and 12 is the hypotenuse. And we know that sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse. So sine theta for us here will be, what's the opposite? 6. What's the hypotenuse? 12. Interesting. That's 1 over 12. So theta will be arc sine 1 over 2, and that will be 30 degrees. Once that is out, our bearing that we are looking for, the bearing already we have identified as 270 minus 30. Okay, 270 minus 30 is what? That is 240 degrees. So looking at our options, we can see that option A, that is 30 degrees, and that will be the correct solution. Okay? So here in this question on set theory, we're told that a group of market women, they sell at least 1 of yam, plantain, and maize. Now 12 of them sell maize, 10 sell yam, 14 sell plantain, 5 sell plantain and maize, 4 sell yam and maize, 2 sell yam and plantain only. Okay, so when we are saying that word only, we know that that is something to pay attention to. Okay, then 3 of them sell all 3 items. We have to find the number of women in the group. Okay, I'm having this as my yam. Okay, I'm having this as my plantain, and I'm having this as my maize. Okay, so let's look at the question. Ideally, it's best that we start interpretation from the inside out. Okay, but we can just know that, okay, we are told that 12 of them sell maize, so maize actually is 12. Okay, 10 sell yam, yam is 10, and then 14 sell plantain. We can pick from there. So now, if you are to start from the conjunction of all the 3 of them, the number that sell all 3, you can see that we are told that 3 sell all 3 items. So this is 3, common to the 3 one of them. And then let's go backward then. Then we can say, here, they said 5 cell plantain and maize. Plantain and maize, this is plantain, this is maize. Their point of intersection is this region here. And they said is constituting 5. Now, out of those 5, already we have taken 3 as selling all 3. So this will be 5 minus 3, which will be 2. Okay? Then 4 cell yam and maize. Yam and maize. This particular region, this region is yam and maize. Okay? But out of those that sell yam and maize, already 3 also sell plantain. So the remaining will be 4 minus 1. So 4 minus 3, which is 1. Okay? And then we are told that 2 sell yam and plantain only. And I was telling us that we should note that only because it's critical. When they say only here is very, very interesting because it's showing us that in this case, we are not saying that yam and plantain is this whole region. No, only mean that we are looking at this region alone, just this region. So that is 2. So we want to put it that this is 2. Okay? So once we have this, we can just compute those that sell maize only, plantain only, yam only. Why am I doing this? Because I want to get each of those entities, then we can add them together and sum them to the total number of women which we are trying to get. Okay? So if I want to get here, already we are told that plantain is 14, but we have 2, 3, and 2 taken out of those 14. So if I want to get that plantain only, which is this region here, it will be 14 minus those that we've gotten before, 2 plus 3 plus 2. So that will be 14 minus 2 plus 3, 5 plus 2, 7. So this is 7. So here, this is 7. Okay? The same thing with maize. Maize was given as 12. So maize only will be 12 minus the sum of these 3 that we have, 1 plus 3 plus 2. That will be 12 minus 4, 6. That will be 6. So this is 6. And the same thing will apply to yam. Okay? For us to get yam only will be 10 minus 2 plus 3 plus 1. 2 plus 3 plus 1. So that will be 10 minus 6. Okay? And that will be 4. So this is 4. Now, what we now need to do is to say, yes, since we have each of each of the entities that we have here, we can sum all of them, and that will give us the total number of women. So the number of women will be nothing but 4 plus 7 plus 6. I first wrote the outer ones, then I work my way in, then plus 2 plus 2 plus 1. Okay, 2, 2, 1. Okay, and then the only thing remaining is plus 3. And that is going to give me 4 plus 7 is 11, plus 6, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22 plus 3, that is 25. So 25 is the total number of women in the group. That's option A. Okay. We had this question coming from factor theorem, and we are told that x plus 2 and x minus 1 are factors of this expression, and we are to find the values of L and K respectively. Well, factor theorem is going to come in handy for us, and just as a means of refreshing our memory, the factor theorem is telling us that if x, in this case, like we are looking at, if x plus 2 is a factor, then what we need to do is to say x plus 2 is 0, therefore x is minus 2. And if you put in the function, the value of 2 in the equation, that function is going to yield 0. Okay, so this is what we do to x plus 2 and x minus 1 to get the value of L and K as we are asked. So let's start with the first one, the function of minus 2. You know, they said x plus 2. If you equate it to 0, then x is minus 2. So function of minus 2 will give us, in this equation, we have, it will be L multiplied by minus 2 plus 2k multiplied by minus 2 raised to the power 2 plus 24. And that should yield 0. Okay? If we want to expand this, it will be minus 2L. Minus 2 raised to the power 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 8k plus 24 is equal to 0. and then we can rearrange, just divide each of those terms by 2. So you have minus L plus 4k plus 12 is equal to 0. I can call this my equation 1. Then for the function of 1, because if it is x minus 1 equal to 0, then x will be equal to 1 when minus 1 moves to the other side. So anywhere I find x, I can just put minus 1 as a value here, okay? Plus 2k multiplied by 1 raised to the power 2 plus 24 is equal to 0. So here I have L 2k times L is 2k, 2k times 1 is 2k, then plus 24 is equal to 0. So I can call this equation 2. And looking at these two, I have equation 1 minus L, equation 2L. If I add equation 1 and 2, I'll just go ahead straight. L and minus L will knock out. 4k plus 2k will give me 6k. Then 12 plus 24 will give me 36 is equal to 0. So 6k will be minus 36 and k itself will be minus 36 over 6, which is minus 6. So if I find k to be minus 6 like that, I can just say from any of those two equations, like here, L, from the second equation, L will be minus 24 minus 2k, and that will be minus 24 minus 2 times minus 6. So that will be minus 24 plus 12, plus minus 2 times minus 6 will be 12. So this will be minus 12. So L is minus 12, K is minus 6, and option A is giving us that as the correct solution to this question. All right. And so we have come to the end of this wonderful journey in which we took our time to look at all the 40 questions from the 2021 JAMB UTME mathematics exam paper. I'm sure that you would have gained a whole lot of insight, particularly with the tricks and the tips that we're offering on how you can work smart, how you can work fast, how you can actually navigate your way around without wasting time, so that when you are facing your exam, you are going to actually have the very best of time, and God helping you, you will excel and gain that admission that you are looking for. We wish you the very best. If you are here to subscribe, we are putting in a whole lot of effort to set up this, so please go ahead. It's free of charge, but you'll have access to a whole lot of our resources, and then that will be useful for you to actually build your excellence. Don't forget to share our videos, share with your loved ones, with your relatives, with everybody around you, and until next time, God bless you.